So actually, before we start working the sides, I want to show you here on this orange bag how it is going to look. So now we have already made two pieces, front and back. For the side we will use a new pattern. It is really thick and simple, and we'll also have the trimming. Then it will allow us to sew these pieces together really nicely. As to the material, you will need maybe a little bit more if you are working loose, and you will need more. So if here I made 8 cast-on stitches plus 1 lifting chain, now I'm going to make it in different color. I'm going to make it slightly different. I'm going to make smaller side because I see that I will have less leftovers. So I decided I'd better use less yarn. So these will have slightly different sides depending on how much material you have. So after the first, I have this much left, and I'm going to cast on 6 or 7 stitches. Now I'll decide as I work so that I have enough material for everything. Now we will start working the side. I have already made wet heat for this piece, so let's measure it. I'll measure it with measuring tape. It is 25 centimeters here, and here it is 18 centimeters. So it is bigger. Then I had 24 and 5 to 17, and this is 18, and here 18 as well, yeah. So before we start making the sides, let's count approximately number of stitches in the round. We do not need to have it exactly, like super exactly. We need to know approximately so that we can count out how many rows we need to work for the side. To calculate this, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. No, 59. 59 as actually it was in the round. So here nothing has changed. And here I have the same 59 stitches. And so what do we need to do here? Here I had 72 rows in the round. And that actually perhaps is a little bit too much. So I think here I could make it 3 to 4 rows less, and it will also be okay because here I had to skip something and so on. So I understand that I could make it less. So the reason why I don't make it 59, I want this round to be perfect. So, and additionally, we will of course try it onto the base to see how it fits. So instead of 59 stitches and not 72, I will make 68 rows, and that will be approximately, and we will try it onto the circumference. You might have a different number. I'll now tell you how to calculate it so that you know how many rows you need to make for your bag. So let's get started. So here is the leftover that I have, and I have to make it last somehow for the trimming and for sewing together. and we'll have to use it for the flap as well. That's why now I'm going to cast on less, because you see that this is not much. It might be not enough. I'll try to make it less. If it's going to be too narrow, well, then I'll make it 7. So this side, we start the same way as we made our half circular pieces. We put the short end on the long one, grab our working end, insert the hook, and pull it into the loop. So this is our 0 loop preparative loop. And then I cast on 6 chains and 1 lifting chain. I'll remind you, here I have 8, so this time I decided to make it a little bit less. If you have enough cord and you're not afraid to run out of it, you can make it wider. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a lifting chain. And then I show you the pattern. So we insert the hook under the upper half loop here. So we skip this one where the loop on the hook is, and we insert it into the next one. Grab the working thread, but do not make a stitch. Insert it under the next one. And now we work these 3 together. Try to work tight. Here you need to make it rather tight. And so then we insert the hook, look attentively, under this one, where the last stitch was. Pay attention, where the last stitch was here. Grab the working thread. And here also it's better to make the flat cord lie flat without twists. Insert it into the next. You have 3 loops on the hook now, and again work all 3 together. So this loop on the hook should be shorter. Again, insert the hook here where the last one was. Three loops on the hook, and then work them all together. Again, make a stitch right here into the last one, where you have already made the last stitch. Then, in the next one, I think you have already understood the gist, that we're going to make our pattern this way. So we return into the loop which we have just worked, and then we make the next stitch and work 3 together. Next one, now 3 together. So pay attention that at the end, this loop is going to be worked twice. We'll make a single crochet as well. And a lifting chain. Turn our work. So here we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is already a lifting chain. That's right. So now we insert the hook under the first braid here, as we are making single crochets, as we were making them in our central part. Grab the working thread, but without finishing it, into the next. Now work 3 together. Likewise, insert the hook into this one, which we have just worked, then into the next, and then all together. By the way, here I'm working with 3.5 millimeters, but actually it depends on your gauge. You can use a 4 millimeter crochet hook and 3 millimeter crochet hook. Insert it into the last one, which is already worked, and then into the next one. Work all 3 together. Insert, pull the loop, work together, all 3 loops. Again, insert in the last, insert in the next, and the last stitch, we work it here, this last one is slightly into diagonal, but find it, don't skip it, and work all 3 together. And into the likewise, last one, we make just a single crochet. Yeah, so we always make a stitch into the one that we have worked last of these 3. Make a lifting chain and turn your work. And again, we insert the hook under this braid, make the first, the next one, and work all 3 together. And like this, we go working back and forth. I'm going to make 68 rows, and you make the number of rows you need, or you can work with me making 68 rows. I think that perhaps it's a little bit narrow, or I'll have a look. I'll finish this row and then perhaps I will try it onto the base and think about it. And the last one is the single crochet, and so all the rows are the same. You count the rows like this: 1, 2, 3. Here it's better to show you here that you can count the pairs: 1, 2, 3, 4. So one will be protruding, the other will not. So if you count protruding, you'll count pairs: 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. The width of this piece is, let's measure, 5 centimeters. And we'll also have trimming, so it will be 6, maybe 6.5 together with a trimming. So there with a trimming I had already 8 centimeters. So I think I'd rather make 7, yeah, not 6 but 7, because 6 is too little. I hope that I'll have enough cord. We'll see. So I try to cast on 7 instead of 6, and we'll see the result. And make 68 rows for the side. If you have very little cord, make it with 6. So make this piece 7 stitches in the row, 68 rows. Then I'll show you how we measure it and how we decide whether the size of the side is okay, and then I'll show you how we make the trimming. So move on till you have 68 rows. So I decided to try cast on 7 stitches, and I've already made 8 rows. You can count even 2, like this: 2, 4, 6, 8. You see the pairs are clearly visible here. The width of this piece is 6 centimeters. I think that this is going to be the right size, plus the trimming it will be 7 or 7.5 centimeters, and that will do for the side. So continue working like this till I have 68 rows. I'll show you again the pattern, like this. Like this we go on working, returning all the time into the previous one. So you have made till the end of the row, and at the end of the row you also make 1 single crochet. Don't forget about it, the last one. Lifting chain, turn your work, and so on and so on. So go on working. 68 rows. So I have already made 68 rows. I'm working on 68th row, and here I would like to add a command that I had to leave 6 stitches because for 7 stitches I didn't have yarn, so I needed about 15 meters of this skein, which I didn't have. And so I had to come back to return to the option with 6 cast on chains. And we also need some for trimming and for sewing the flap. So if you see that you do not have enough yarn, don't make it 7, make it 6. And then you will use less yarn. That's what I have already said, but now I have already tried it. I saw that I do not have enough yarn, so I had to make it 6. So now I have a little bit, so I hope that it will do for sewing it together. So here you can also choose depending how much you have, and you know, it depends. Even 2 different skeins might have slightly different number of meters, even if it has the same number of grams, and we have different gauge. That's why you see in different skeins we get different number of meters. And so we continue. So when you have made 68 rows, you take one of the pieces, front or back, and try it on like this. How you are going to sew it around like this. And here you have to check that these pieces are matching. I think that I have 2 stitches not enough. But as you remember, here we had 59. Here we will have a trimming on one side. And the trimming will make it wider, yeah, because of the trimming. Plus trimming will be more elastic, and plus we have spare 10 stitches. So when we start sewing it, this side, it will be stretched a little bit, and maybe you will think that it is too much. So don't worry if now it looks like it's not enough. Your trimming is going to be elastic, and then it is going to match. If you have not enough yarn, you can make 66, not 68. Yeah, you can make it not so tight, and maybe if you work loose, then you'll be able to stretch it better, and you'll have enough yarn for 68 rows. So here, just visually, you need that it is wide enough and that it fits the circumference. And I finished 68th row. Make the last stitch here, and then lifting chain and turn our work to the side like this. And then we have a trimming with single crochets along the contour. So we insert the hook between the first and the second row. We have such opening here along the edge. If you are a beginner, you will be able to see them and have a look where I inserted. If you are experienced, you already understand what I mean. So now we grab the working thread, 2 loops, and we work these 2 together. Don't make the first one big. This one on the hook is tighter. The next one is slightly bigger. So next opening between this row and that row. Insert, pull it, make a single crochet. So now you make 1 stitch between each 2 rows. And then something similar here. Find each next opening between the row. and work it. So like this, we are going to make the trimming all along one side. And like this you go till the end, till this end. Here we will make trimming together. I'll show you how to finish. And in this direction we will work the same. Yeah, so go on working on your own and we'll meet here. So here I have made one side of the trimming. Pay attention that here, this opening between the first and the second row, and we need to make stitches into these last stitches. Don't skip them. So here we insert a single crochet. Here we also insert the hook and make a single crochet, and then we turn our work and start working with slip stitches. We change the stitches, insert the hook under this crisscross and make a single crochet. Make a slip stitch, that is, make a slip stitch. It means that you pull it and pull the loop into the loop on the hook at once. You see, into the loop on the hook at once. Here also perhaps we could make a slip stitch. You can undo this knot. Just leave it behind. And then insert the hook between these two rows and make a single crochet. So you get such an edge. And then again we make a single crochet again between each two rows. Go on working like this till the next end, and then we will finish together. Now we are at this edge, you see, again between the first and the second row here. We make a stitch. Then as I have so little material, I'll make a very short free end, will not waste it, and we will make a full slip stitch. Now fix it so that it won't come off. And then insert the hook under the upper braid on this side. Grab this free end like this, and here we need to repeat all the rest. Again, we insert the hook into this braid where the free end came from, but on the other side. And I usually grab one more back half loop just to make it hold better there, to fix it better like this, and push it. So that's how the side looks. Here where I had to add a new skein, I just made a knot, but this all we're going to hide, to sew in. I usually sew all the free ends at the end. When I see that everything is okay, I'm not going to change anything, so just leave it for the time being. We'll hide them later. This free end where you have a knot, if you start the loop, the preparative loop like I do, then you can undo it. If not, then you better not do it, because it might come off. So I just prefer to make it this way, and then I untie it. I'll hide it behind several stitches. So then later we will hide all the free ends, of course, and sew them to the base, but that will be later. So this is how our piece looks. Now let's measure. I cast on 6 stitches plus trimming, and I get 6.5 centimeters. So that is 1.5 centimeter less than in the orange bag. So for me that is okay. Exactly what I wanted to achieve. So if I put it like this, Let's have a look on this way. That is all very approximate. When you start sewing, you will be able to see. I will stretch it just a bit. And now we will start sewing these pieces together. And I'll show you how we do this and how we spread the loops. Because number of loops will not be the same. So that's all I have left of 2 skeins, and now I have to use it somehow for sewing the pieces. For the flap we will need just a little bit. That is approximately 80 centimeters, and about meter 20 to meter 30 we will need for the sides, for sewing the sides. So here you have to spread it so that for the sides you have much more, and about 80 centimeters for the flap. For sewing the pieces together you will need such a needle and the free end of this cord which you are going to sew. You have to sew it to stop it from fraying. If you melt it with leather it will be just catching all the threads, so it's better to sew it. It's really easy. Just take a needle. You don't have to make it super neat, you just have to sew it so that you stop it from fraying. Just don't make any knots, it's just a temporary thing. And the other one I will just melt, because that one we're not going to use, so it doesn't matter how we fix it. And then with that sewn one, we insert it into the eye of the darning needle and take our pieces. Here 2 pieces are wet heat processed. This you don't have to, it already looks nice and flat. The free ends here, all the free ends that we have here, we'll leave them for the time being and we'll deal with them at the very end. So, and now we start sewing the pieces together. And before before we start sewing together, I'll remind you that here we have 68 rows, and that is approximately 68 of these braids. Here we have 59, so now we have to match 59 and 68. And when we will be sewing, we'll have to bear this in mind. How? If we make it like this, if we put this side to the front part, and we see that front part is bigger and the side is several centimeters smaller, then we will have to stretch it so that it is the same as this front piece. If visually it doesn't matter 2 centimeters, when you sew it, it will be in place, so it will be enough. Don't worry, when you start sewing you'll see that this will be enough, you just have to sew it right. Now, how are we going to sew it? Here we insert the hook, that is our darning needle, under this half loop on the side. Like this. Leave the free end. And then here you need to find the half loop to which you will attach it. So I think it's going to be this one. But as it is so big, and actually I am going to sew it into 2 half loops, so I will also grab this one, which one is next to it, which it would be logical to use. insert it from this side. And then here we need to take the next one on the side, like this. Insert it inside and grab one half loop. As our cord is flat, we have to make sure it's not twisted. And this is the condition under which your seam will look neater. And also, we will use this variant later. Now let's move on. We have grabbed this one, and the next one is going to be this one. Don't skip it. So here I would rather insert it into the same half loop on the base and on the side, but you don't have to. I just make it just in case, just to make sure it is sewn properly, and then we will be moving just like in one side and another. We insert the darning needle into the next one here on the base, and the next one on the side. Then again we go one loop below and one loop below on the base. But as you remember, we do not have the same number of loops. So in an orange bag, there I skipped some of the half loops on the side. So I decided I'm going to skip every 8 or every 9 stitches. I skipped them, and I was able to distribute the loops. As here the side is slightly shorter and I do not have spare loops to skip, I will have to work twice instead of skipping. I will work 2 loops on the base, for example, and only 1 on the side. But it's also not every one. Here, if we have 9 loops less, 68, 59, yeah, 9. So we need to cheat 9 times somehow. That will be 68 divided by 9. In every 8, approximately in every 8 stitches, we will have to work 1 stitch on the base, or on the side, 2 times, and on the base once. So now I'll show you everything, and let's go on. Let's move on. If you have different number, then perhaps you don't have to do this. So here you have to count number of stitches of the base and number of stitches of the side, and you will see whether you have to skip stitches or to work some stitches twice, so that you make the matching number of stitches. So do not tighten these stitches, try to make them neat, nice. And so like this, let's work 7 or 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's make number 8 and number, we work 2 times. So we go here and insert the needle into the 8th stitch. So here we go 1 stitch below and come back into the same 8th stitch again, like this. And now we have spread these stitches, we have tightened the side a little bit, stretched it rather, stretched it. Then we go 1 step below here and 1 step below there. Like this. Then we work 7 stitches more, the same, without any changes. And then again, in the 8th, we will work 1 stitch twice. Again, I'll show you. So like this we go on working. 7 stitches more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Six and 7. And in 8th we will again work twice. Here we go 1 step below, and here we also go 1 step below now. And then in the next we go 1 step below, and here we come back into the same one. So now if we check how this side fits, you will see that it almost fits. You see, several times more like this, and it will fit perfectly. Here again we'll go 1 step below, and here as well. Make sure that you make the stitches more or less the same size, and so like this we sew the side and the base all around. When you have almost finished, and when you will be somewhere here, and you will see that maybe it is already too big for the back, so you have to see it, and visually you will stop skipping the stitches. Yeah, you will stop making 2 stitches into 1. Maybe you will have just to work 1 stitch into 1 stitch, or even skip one. So we will see as we go. If you need to skip, I'll just show you, just a demo. I'll just show you if I need to skip. You will insert, for example, I have to skip this one on the side. If it is, I insert it here, and here I just skip it like this, just don't use it. That is if you need, yeah? I just showed you as a demo of how to skip. I don't need to do this now. I'm not sure that mine's going too big. That's it. And so like this we go on working. Here where we finish together, and then we'll have a look what we get. So here I saw that I can't sew it like this 2 by 2 in each next stitch, and each 9th stitch, yeah, or 8th stitches. I was doing it previously because these stitches match, and I see now that I don't have to do this anymore. So starting from this point I will be working like I have just shown you. I will skip, I find the 1, and here I just skip 1. So here you look and you visually see whether you have to skip 1 or vice versa. Then I'll make 1 stitch, for example, and then I will, for example, skip again. You can count it with number of stitches, or you can do it visually as I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, no, and 24. So approximately 4 stitches we have to spread somehow because they are too many, 4 stitches too many, like this. So I have already skipped one, and I go on working like this. Now I will make 4 or 5 and skip again. And you see that it matches perfectly, no waves, everything looks perfect. And so like this we continue. I will skip one here. I see that it will be enough. So like this, go on working till the end. So I made 4 stitches and I will skip one more and then I'll have a look whether it matches perfectly. Yes, it does. Tighten it slightly here. Here I will skip again one. So that the size of the side fits the size of the base. And we have almost made it. So here actually more or less all the stitches are matching. If not, you can skip one more. Just make it fit visually to the size of the base. And so here we will grab the last one here and the upper one here. And perhaps I would make one more as we did at the beginning, just to secure it better. This is the full stitch, that's why it's difficult to get into it, like this. Just to make a stronger stitch. And I'll leave it. So that's what we get now. Now both pieces are joined with the side. When the bag will be filled, it will be really straight and will have such a shape. Now, the second part. Likewise, here we have to attach the other. Front or back, they are the same. So we take about 1 meter, maybe 1.5 meters of cord, and sew this absolutely the same like the previous one. Absolutely the same. So you can come back and watch the video again. And then when you sew this, then we'll start adding the accessories. So the second part, we are sewing likewise. I decided to show you the beginning and then you'll continue working on your own. So we put it like this with the right side facing us. And we'll start somewhere here on the side. For example, I'll insert the needle into the corner, right into the corner, leave a small end, and here perhaps I'll grab this one as well, and a back half loop. And we go one step down. Make sure your cord is not twisted. Like this. And all the same, just go on working like we did before. When we have sewn both pieces, I'll then show you how to hide all these free ends, how to insert the accessories, and then we'll sew the free ends. And so we continue. Here we are going to spread the loops according to the same principle, and then we will meet when you have sewn it all. So now that's how it looks when we have sewn all the pieces. These might be going inwards, but when you put something in the bag, as you use it, it will start going outwards. It will be protruding because you will put something inside. So don't worry if now you just see that the sides tend to go inwards. It's not going to be like this. Now, talking about the free ends, here we have to all these free ends that we have on the outside, we can just repeating the pattern of some nearest stitch, pull it inside here as well. I need to fix it well. Here I could, for example, make one more stitch, just make it sure that it will stay put, and then just pull it a little bit deeper. So here I show you the general idea how to hide the free ends so that you understand and you can decide looking at your situation. So that here you have fixed it well and so that they are hidden seamlessly. Now here I see I have to tighten this one and then, for example, repeat. Here I see this one comes from this side to that side and it is stretched. So I can make kinda cheat to hide it like this and come back here. It will be fixed properly on one hand and it will be seamless on the other. And so that's it. We're going to hide the free ends after the accessories. So for now, leave them be. And so we choose the side which you want to make the right side, which you like better, although they are absolutely the same. Well, I think that they're absolutely the same. I don't even know how to choose. This one or that one. Okay, let's take this one. And then we take the flap, leave the bag lock here so that you understand at what level you have to sew it. So first of all, I recommend you to make the bag lock here in the center where the semicircle is. First and second rows. Here. So you can, let's have a look where I have inserted the backlog here. Here I inserted it here next to the second row. So here you have to find the row where you are going to insert the backlog, whether it was next to the second or the third, how you like it. Here, as well as this row has slight tilt, here we have to look attentively how the corners of the flap lie according to the sides. That is important so that they are straight. You can fix it in place with some sewing pins. Here you have some openings for the sewing, so you can insert them here into the lower part of the backlog so that it remains put where you have it now. Then you will carefully turn it, hold it with your fingers in front, and then turn it to the other side like this. And now here are the openings which I'm going to use for sewing the flap. I have some free spare hooks, so I'll use them for pinning it in place like this, so that I know where I'm going to sew the flap, and check on the right side again. Make sure that it's going to be there in the right place, and so you start sewing here from this opening from the right side. I have very little cord left, so I have to sew sparingly somehow to make sure I have enough. So be careful with these sewing pins, they are sharp. Now you need to find the level at which you are going to sew the flap. So approximately here, insert the hook, any hook. I have 3.5 millimeters, for example. So I insert this hook. And make a loop. This loop should be the same as the distance between these two openings. Then insert it into the next one. And here we try to move along a straight line at the same level. Here I see this line. Of course, the line is slightly rounded, so it cannot be straight along one row. I'll have to make it adapted. So again, I take the working thread and again just pull it through the opening into the flap, tighten this loop a little bit, the first one, we'll fix it later, and so like this, hold the hooks and into the next one pull the loop and pull it through the loop on the hook to make a slip stitch. Let's have a look where it would be better to pierce it through, and then like this. I'm not going to sew the whole flap on camera. I think you understand that we make a slip stitch through the flap and through the bag. As you go, you have to check, because maybe it will start shifting. So here you have to make smaller distances, make tighter stitches. As you see, my flap has already shifted to the left. That's not good, so I have to undo it. I think at this stage I could have maybe even started into the corner here. Then next one will be the same size, loop same size as the distance between the openings. And here we hold it with our fingers, so we have to hold it in place so that it won't shift. Don't let it shift to the left. And grab the working thread. Then again, insert, hold it in place so that the flap won't shift. Grab the working thread and pull it. Then again, likewise, with each next stitch, like this. So here you try to sew it straight, yeah, but the lines, the rows are rounded. So you just try to sew it at the same level, maybe not at the same row, but at the same level. And so I go on sewing till the end of the flap. Check from time to time, check whether flap hasn't shifted. It's not bad. We'll have to sew this one first in place. And so go on working like this, along straight line, along one level. Do not cut the thread before you made sure that everything is okay. So first we have to check that everything is fine, and then we can cut the thread. So I have slightly changed the stitches again because my flap started shifting, and now as you see it's not shifted anymore. So now I'll show you again. So I make sure that the edges are more or less the same, at the same level, so that when you close the flap it is symmetrical. Yeah, and so distance on both sides are the same. And now I'll pull the thread completely, like this. Let's have a look what we have on the right side. I took it away because the sewing pins were prickling my fingers. So again, I will find the place. Here it's going to be in this place. You see the flap is matching perfectly. Now I'll show you where I have sewn it so that you can sew it along that line as well from the very beginning. So find the place for the bag lock. Here it is. Fix it with some sewing pins in place. Ready? And again. And again. Yeah, now it's straight. So as here this line is tilted, you do not look at it. Don't look at it when you insert the back lock. So remember that it is tilted. It's not right. You have to center the bag according to the flap. The bag lock, I mean, according to the flap. Like this. Here, check that this upper part is symmetrical. And that's what you'll get. So then, now here, I have sewn it along the straight line. As the lines are tilted, I have sewn it at the same level. I was not looking at the row, I was looking at the level. The size of this bag is smaller, I mean the width of the side is smaller, but this width suits this bag, I think, and the flap fits in perfectly, so it is okay. Here I have 7.5 centimeters. That's enough. That's enough. And when you have already sewn everything and you are sure that it is okay, you have to hide this free end inside, just into the same opening here. Insert this free end. Pull it inside. So at this stage, you can see almost the ready result, almost complete bag. If you like, if everything is okay, then we will sew the lower part of the bag lock. Then we will insert the loops and I'll show you how to hide free ends, and our base will be ready. We'll have only to sew in the lining. So now we'll sew the bag lock. I have a thread in almost the same color. It's just an ordinary cotton thread. So I'm going to sew each stitch several times, each opening several times, so that it holds really strong. So let's start here on top. Here I have one pin. I'll take it off, make a knot. So I have made a knot, and now I will insert it from the inside, like this, and into the opening. Here I take the pin off and insert it into the next one. So we make one stitch, then I'll make several more into the same. I will just make first stitch a little stronger. I think I'll do this to the third time, just to make sure. And you see it. We sew it not all around, but on the upper edge and lower edge. We have two lines of openings. And then we make a transition to the next opening. And likewise, if you have a thin thread, you can make several stitches into each two openings. Likewise, when you have made several stitches, you can check again whether it hasn't shifted, whether it is still in place where you wanted it to be. Now we'll check together. If it shifted, you can undo several seams. It's not a big deal, so better check it and fix it if need. So I'll make the last stitch. That's it. So I've checked, everything is okay. So you can see that here, first of all, this lower part is in place, and it is in place according to the flap. And then we can continue. The same. Go on working. When you have finished this piece, you just go down to the lower one here and make one more row of seams. And then when you have done this, we'll meet and I'll show you how to add loops. It's really easy. And then we will hide the free ends. Yeah, I have sewn the bag. I have put something into the bag to show you how it looks visually really when there is something in it. So it's not going to be empty, you're going to put something into it, quite a lot of things into it, I guess. So let's move on. We have such loops. I have white ones, such straps that we are going to attach to the side of the bag. To the sides of the bag. Yeah, now I have to open it first with a screwdriver. I'll show you how to attach one. They are really easy. You just take the screws out. I think you know how to do it yourself, but nevertheless. So, my advice is to not do it high. Make it a little bit lower, so several rows lower, because the flap will cover this part, and so that this strap looks nice together with the shoulder strap, it's better to make it a little bit lower. So you need now to find the place for this strap and then just pierce it through with screws to the inside, and then on the inside you see here they are. You have to fix them in place. So you just take this second part and using screwdriver secure it in place. So first time we do this without glue, but when you are already sure that you have inserted it right, and when you will be sewing the lining in, you will have to take glue and fix these things in place inside. So that's how it looks. And the second you attach according to the same principle. So now I have attached these loops, and then I will add glue when we will be sewing, because they might come off and I want to secure them properly. You can try the shoulder strap on to see the complete work. Look how wonderful it looks together with this stylish strap. So now we will start hiding the free ends. So now to hide the free ends, I'll show you as an example. Then you can hide all the free ends that you have. So here I have 3 and we have to hide them all. We can sew them all together. As we're going to have a lining, they're going to be at this level approximately. So I would recommend you to insert the free ends lower than the level of the lining. Then it will look perfect. Nothing will be visible. You have to hide them a little bit deeper into the bag. So you push them a little bit down under the stitches. And then this free end, I also have to fix it somehow. And these ones. So here you have to find where you think these free ends will look better, where it is convenient to pull them, because you don't have to do only this or that. You do what is convenient for you. Now we take sewing thread and a needle, and we need to sew it through first in the place where you have hidden the free ends together with the free ends. So you sew the free end to the base. Make sure that you pierce it deeper so that you get free ends and the base both together. So when you insert this needle approximately right into the place where you have started, so you make teeny tiny stitches. I do not even make knots, it's not needed, like this. And then when you already feel that you have fixed it well, then you can cut it. Make several more stitches right into the place where you have cut it. And now I'll cut the end. Try to cut it really close. So you see now I make several more stitches to stop it from fraying and to fix the place where you have cut it. So let's cut it like this. Let's sew it like this. And according to the same principle, you hide all the ends. You can melt the ends, burn slightly the ends with lighter, but I prefer to sew it. Yeah, if you have a lining, then it's going to hide it all. So that's it. And now I can cut it completely. I don't make any knots. So that's it. I have sewn 3 ends at one go. When you sew one, it will be easier and it will look neater. So hide all the 3 ends that you have inside. And then we'll start making the lining. So I have already hidden all the 3 ends. Some of them I have glued, some of them I have sewn. When it wasn't easy to sew it, I glued it. Now we'll start making the lining and sewing it into the back. We will need to glue these screws to make sure that stay there put forever. I think I'll do this before I insert the lining. And now I will show you how we are going to cut, sew and sew in the lining. I'll show you everything step by step. I do not show you how I sew it on the sewing machine, but I'll explain everything. So, if we are talking about the lining, then it consists of 3 parts. 2 half circles, 2 pieces like this, and then 1 long piece for the side. We need to find this size, that is the width of the bag, and we'll need to find the height of this piece, that is the front piece or a back piece, doesn't matter. And then we will need to find the widest point here, so that we can draw a nice semicircle, maybe even several ones, to make this round. Here we'll need the length of this piece and width of this piece. Now I'll show you how to take each measurement and how to calculate it. So first we need to take the width of the bag. I'm going to sew it along one line. So insert the measuring tape right into the corner. And so I'll be sewing it along this line. So you're not looking at this curved line, you are looking at like 1 centimeter below and follow one level approximately here. You can determine the height at which you want to make it. You can make it lower, you can make it higher. And so, like this, you follow the same level along the sides of the bag. I got 22 centimeters. So, 22 centimeters is the width of the bag, of this piece. But we need to add some seam allowances for sewing. I add 1.5 centimeters, that is plus 3 centimeters. And that will be 25 centimeters. So here we need a piece 25 centimeters. So now we need to find the widest part here in the middle. You can make it on the outside and then check it on the inside. So approximately here where the bag lock is will be the widest part. Here I have 25 centimeters and I'll check it on the inside. And I will press the measuring tape to the side like this and have a look how many centimeters I have on the inside of the bag. "26." Yeah, actually 25, 26 is almost the same. Okay, let's make this width 26 plus 3 centimeters is 29. So here we'll have 29 centimeters. Height. Now let's measure the height. We'll measure the height starting from the upper part till the lower. Here, of course, it will be different when it is rounded. So we measure the biggest number here, starting from the point where you sew the lining, along the wall, and then down to the bottom. Press it to the side. It is 16 centimeters. So the height is 16 plus 3 centimeters for the seam allowance. It will be 19 centimeters. So 19 centimeters is our height. We could also measure this point which is the smaller width here, almost at the bottom. So let's measure it here on the outside, like here, so that we can draw the circle. It's approximate, but that will do to draw the lining, to cut the lining. So let's say at the level of 3 centimeters from the bottom, I measure it, it's 17 centimeters. So when you draw, you will know that here you have added 3 centimeters from the bottom, 17, 16, 17 centimeters. Yeah, 19. So all these measurements are approximate, but for the lining, that will do. For the lining, you don't need to have it super precise. So, and now we need to cut 2 pieces with these dimensions, and then we will need to measure the side of the bag, the length of this piece. Pay attention that the width we measure now on the inside. The inside will be here. Make it from the corner to the corner. I have approximately 8 centimeters. 8 centimeters, okay. So it is here. 8 plus 3 centimeters for the seam allowance as well. That will be 11 centimeters. 11 centimeters. This length can be measured with measuring tape at once, like this. But it would be better to measure it on the inside. And to make it more precise, I'll show you how to do this otherwise. For this, we need to cut front and back pieces first. So let's meet after we have cut first 2 pieces. So I have cut pieces, 2 pieces for the lining. I'm going to use linen. It's rather thick, nice. So now I recommend you to, I have already ironed it, and now I recommend you to measure the circumference of these according to the lining itself. We'll skip 1.5 centimeter for the seam allowance. It is the number that we have set for the seam allowance. And so at this level, we follow the shape of the lining, like this. And we go all along approximately. And so, like this, you will get the length of this side. I get 55 centimeters. And here I have already made some seam allowances, because there was also 1.5 centimeter for the seam allowance. So this part is 55 centimeters. I cut it, so I need 11 to 55 centimeters, and then I'll show you how we sew it all together. So we have prepared these pieces of fabric for lining, and now I'll show you which seams we make the first. For this, we will need some sewing pins to fix them in place. Here we take the long one and fold the shorter end, this one, from the right side to the wrong side, and pin it in place. So we will make a seam here on this side, And likewise on the other side. 1.5 centimeters, as we left it for the fold. Here and here. And put it aside. Now these pieces we also need to put it with the right side facing us, and we fold it to the wrong side, 1.5 centimeter here on top, like this. And make this seam along the upper edge. It is this part where the seam will be visible, and we'll be sewing it to the back. One piece and the second likewise. Now we are going to make first seams here, and after this, if you have a label, if you have some tag, then you can sew it at once at one of the places. I usually do this in the center, on the back side. So make these seams, and now when you have made these seams on these and these pieces, now we will need to make 2 more seams, that is to sew the middle to the rounded part. So I'll take one away. So how do we do this? I think it's logical, and we take sewing pins again. So we take right side to the right side, this is the right side, and now we take the right side of this long one, and we put them one next to the other, one facing the other. We put it like this, and we need to arrange this. I'll start here on this side. We need to arrange it as it is going to be sewn. So you need to match the upper edge, pin it in place. Here you might get little folds because the size of the side might be slightly different, so don't worry, because this is a rounded shape, and actually here you cannot do without it. So like this I pin it, one in the other. I skip approximately 1.5 centimeter as I planned. I also prefer to take it here when I have pinned several on one side. I start on the other side so that the edges are perfect, so that you can then spread it this way, and the other edge will be perfectly matching as well. Like this. And if the pins are looking this direction, here I do the same. They're looking this direction from right to left, for example. And now I can see how much fabric I have on one side and on the other. You see? Maybe here will be a little fold. So I have to spread it so that it fits all around. It's really easy. And so like this you go on working in the round. And now we need to make this seam with a sewing machine or by hand. On the other side likewise, and actually our lining will be ready. It's really simple. Now when you have made one seam on one side, this is the right side, this is the wrong side, and we take the second piece with the right side inwards, match it first this edge, I think that here it's actually really easy, so you can do it on your own. Pin it in place as we did with the first one. Likewise, you can start on one edge, then start on the other edge, and then you work towards the center, and then make a seam, and that's it, it's ready. Now it's ready to be sewn, and that's the last thing, and we'll have only to sew it into the bag. So our lining is ready, and now we have only to sew it into the bag. That's how it looks. So now we will put it into the bag. But before this, I recommend you to glue the screws here, how we glue it, to make sure that it will stay put. I'll explain. One, I think it will be enough. So I have to take it off. You need some glue for metal. This one is really handy because it has such a brush here. So you just need to add a little bit of glue here to the screw and screw it in so that it will be glued and it will be fixed properly. It will stay there no matter what. Just be careful, do not glue your fingers because I have already done this. And so like this you repeat with them all. You can put glue not only to this one, but also to the other part. I'll show you this one. Yeah? So you can add a drop of glue there. Maybe it would be easier. And quickly fix it. So this way you'll make sure that they will never come off. They will stay put. And likewise on the other side, and then we sew the lining. So to sew the lining, put it inside, hide all these threads. I always start with this place where I have the tag. It is back side at the middle. You can pin it in place first, have a look, make sure that it fits and you like how you have spread it all along the bag, like this. And so like this you keep on pinning it in place. till the end. Here, then sides, then front part, and so on. You have to make sure that these corners, these sides, are exactly matching the sides of the bag. It's a little bit difficult to do this on camera. So right into the corner. Here I have slightly more fabric that I need, so I can spread it without stretching, especially. So like this, go on working all on the perimeter, spread all the lining inside the bag, and then we'll start sewing it into the bag. So when you have spread it into the bag, we take a thread and sewing needle, and I'll show you my absolutely seamless method. If you have never worked with my masterclasses before, it is a way of sewing lining into the bag, which allows you to make absolutely invisible seam. I'll take these two off. So I find here, first you need to fix the thread in the bag. Somewhere here. For this, I pierce it slightly lower than the level of the lining. I use a loop method to fix it like this without knots. So now we need to pierce the fabric here, right along the very top of this fold. So you find the right into the top here and pierce it like this, right into the upper part of this fold of the fabric. Pierce it like this, and then you pierce the bag through. You can pierce it through completely, be careful with the needle, and you have made a seam. Here you return almost into the same place, but on the wrong side, on the inside, you pierce it to the left, so you make a stitch to the left, so the distance on this side is more than the distance than on the right side. Again, pierce the lining right into the top and pierce the bag right through. And so we move from the right to the left. Try to make small stitches and teeny tiny stitches on the right side. Again, I have made a stitch into the lining, into the fabric, and pierce it through the knitted base. Pay attention that here it is absolutely seamless, you can't see it at all. Here you come back, make a teeny tiny stitch and pierce it into diagonal like this, so that on this side you make a bigger stitch than on that side. And so you take each next pin out. Here work horizontally. And so you sew it. And go on working on your own in a circle till you have sewn this lining all along the perimeter, and actually that's it. Our bag will be ready. Sew it and we'll meet when you have sewn it in the round. So my lining is ready. I have sewn it. I have to do one more stitch. And then I do not make any knots. I just make several stitches back and forth so that I fix the thread in the knitted cord, like here, and back, so that the thread will remain inside. And then again here and back. And then you just cut it. And lining is ready and your bag is ready. You have to spread it like this. So now we can see that it looks really nice and neat. That's it, our bag is ready. Now you can enjoy wearing it. So, my dear friends, thank you for watching this masterclass, and I want to thank each of you who has chosen my masterclass, who has created your wonderful Florida bag in your colors. I'll be really happy to see photos of your work, so please tag me on Instagram, share on Instagram or Telegram, and I wish you a lot of inspiration, a lot of interesting ideas and desire to create. Thank you, see you. That was Oksana Rudko and my brand La Accessory. See you, bye!